We are live for tonight's session, Grow Your Marketing Agency. We're just going to hang around for a minute or so just to let everybody get here. If you're watching us on YouTube, welcome. Hopefully, Firemind, you can see us. We got a lot to go through tonight. So just so you're aware, if you've never been to our webcast before, they are training focused. They are thought leadership focus, so we're going to give you a lot to help you. So if you're watching on YouTube, please let us know in the chat. If you're on LinkedIn watching us now, please let us know in the chat. All the chat comes into one place. We're going across 4 or 5 social channels all at once. Hi Paul, hi Firemind, let us know you're here and we will start in 1 more minute. Hi Sarah. We're just going to go through some practicalities. I'm going to share some of my experience. I built 2 marketing agencies. I did it twice. That's why I'm grey. But I'm just going to walk you through some of the things I've found. There's no big sales pitch here. There's no like dangle a carrot and, you know, then give you this, half a story. I'm going to give you the full works of what I think you should be thinking about right now. You can go away and do what you like with it. You can sit on it. You can bin it. You can do whatever. Sarah's on LinkedIn. Carl's on LinkedIn. Cantoro's on LinkedIn. Cam's on LinkedIn. Paul's on YouTube. Firemind's on YouTube. So, yeah, Norm's on YouTube. So, yeah, the whole point of tonight is really training thought focus so that you can go away and do something with it, not dangle a load of carrots and buy something, So if you've got notepads and pens, there are 4 key things I want to get across tonight. So these 4 things are: how do you get the attention of business owners and, you know, big budget marketing departments? What's the ways of creating very comfortable sales conversations? How to avoid pitching lowball clients, people who don't want to pay for things. And how to source paying clients who understand your value. A lot of these are very similar concepts, but they're actually slightly different in the way come across. Hi, Jack. Hi, Helena. So we're going to kickstart right now. So notepad and pens ready. I'm going to get through quite a lot of stuff. And again, feel free to ask questions in the chat wherever you're watching. They feed into one system here, and if I can, I'll answer the questions as we go. So if you're here, wherever you're watching, put the comments in the chat, questions in the chat, and we'll answer them as we go. So if you've never been to one of our webcasts before, we do them on a regular basis. And basically, it's our way of helping businesses. There's a great book called Superfans. It's worth a read. And it talks about every business just needs 1,000 fans, 1,000 people who believe in the value and see the value, and your business is set. So one of our missions is to help over 1 million businesses grow. To date, in terms of being through our training sessions, we've had over 160,000 businesses. So hi, Nicola. Hi, Ray. Hi, Jack. So that's who we are and a bit of what we're about. So this is me, Dean Seddon. I'm the founder of Maverrik. So feel free to come and connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to. All the usual things. If you're watching on Facebook, you can follow or all that stuff. Please go do that. We all know how important it is to work the algorithms and build the following and all that kind of stuff, push the bell and all that thing. Hi, Darren from Florida. Welcome, everybody. And we're just going to kickstart now. So you've not missed anything if you just joined. Okay, so I'm a former TV. I worked in TV for a number of years, where my job was to get the attention and get the buy-in of customers, partners, all of those things. So I understand the levers you need to pull to get people engaged in what you've got to offer. And that's why I built 2 marketing agencies. We're going to tell you a funny story about building a marketing agency. And I'm also a Forbes Agency Council member. So Forbes.com, you'll see some of my stuff up there. But let's just crack on. I've done the brag piece now, so you kind of know who I am a little bit. So here's my discovery. So I've done 2 marketing agencies and done them from 0 to £1 million in turnover in 18 months. I've done it twice. And I want to tell you this story because it'll help you really crystallize what you should be doing, whether you're whatever area your agency's in, whether it's SEO, whether it's video, whether it's social, whatever it is that you're providing. This will help you. So I had an average website. Yeah, I had LinkedIn, I had email, no cold calling. We didn't really do much on other channels. We did a bit, but not a huge amount. And our positioning for the first agency we did, the positioning agency, was basically retainer clients, where the spend would be somewhere between £750 and £5,000. Now, one key thing about that, if you're looking for retainers are really good in terms of building predictability in the business. But I made quite a number of mistakes when we built the first agency, in that sometimes it's quite tricky with lower value clients with lower value retainers, because they make you work as hard as having a £5,000 a month retainer. But we did it successfully, and we had about 65 people on retainer, 65 companies on retainer, and about 30 staff. So we built something really quite exciting. The downside was, as a business, we were brilliant at the sales front, but the logistics of delivering client work was a nightmare. And so I decided I'd pull out of that kind of world, and then did it again and built the agency again with other people who are solid in terms of the client delivery and all the logistics of getting everything done. We delivered TV commercials. So we sold for Sky TV at the time. We sold the most amount of TV advertising to brand new TV advertisers that in the region, where they'd never seen a company bring so many new advertisers to the market. And that's what I want to explain to you tonight. That's the key thing I want to get across, because when you do this way, it actually makes it much easier to sell. So we actually moved to doing TV commercials, and we actually sold more TV commercials to brand new TV advertisers than ever before. And it's a difference between having a conversion strategy and a convert strategy. And I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit later. So my discovery was that actually there was a different way of doing this that actually was less competitive, better margin, and much easier. And that's what I want to show you tonight. And you can, as I say, eat the meat and leave the bones. Some of this you'll love, some of this you won't, but you can use whatever you want. You can go away from here and say that Dean doesn't know what he's talking about, or you can go away and say, I like his ideas on that. And if you like some of the stuff I show you tonight, come let me know, because that's helpful to me to know that I'm giving value and helping you along your journey. So let me just contextualize all of this. So having done 2 agencies, gone bald doing it, I would never run an agency again. Not because they're not good things. It's because I am not wired as an individual to manage an agency. It takes a different caliber of person, a different talent of person. I would much rather be now working with agencies or engaged with agencies to actually sell their services. So that's why I'm doing this as a presentation, because I think a lot of agencies are missing the mark. So why do some agencies become the go-to agency that they're no better than you? We all know this. We all know that there's the fad of the month agency, whether it be this one, that one, or the other. Why is it people go, ooh, and are attracted to those people? Yet you know you can do just as good a job. So you can do exactly the same job. You can do it to the exact same ability. You can get the exact same outcomes, but they seem to be sexier, the more in-trend one. And so this is an incredible frustrating thing, really frustrating, but it's a reality of the world we're in. But what does every agency want? They want to be the go-to agency, the go-to agency. In other words, the people that everybody say they're on fire right now and they're the ones really shaking things up. That's what we want to do. Unfortunately, we miss some things in building this. And I'm going to share them with you tonight and explain them. But I wanted to just unpick something first, because there's a massive problem in the way not every agency, a lot of agencies sell themselves. So you want to be the go-to agency. You want to be the people want to work with. So you may have seen this, you may not have seen this, but this is a study by Les Binnett and Peter Fielding. Now, I'm not going to bore you with stats all for the next 50 minutes. Please don't worry about that. But what they found is amazingly reassuring to marketing agencies. Hi, Kyle. Hi, Mohammed. Welcome. Hi, Darren. It's amazingly reassuring. And it is this, that the long-term sales growth comes from brand building, and short-term sales growth comes from just going at it. Yeah. Hitting the phones, getting the numbers in, doing as much stuff as you can to sell. And so inevitably, whenever an agency's founded, it starts sell. We got to sell stuff. We got to sell stuff. And then you've got to build a brand. Now, this is where I think a lot of agencies lose their brain a little bit, because remember, the brand isn't the logo. The brand isn't the style. The brand is the synonymous identity of who you are and what you do or what you can achieve for people. And so I'm going to show you and unpack this in a minute. But what they found was in the short term, it's better to sell. But that strategy has no overall long-term effect on the business at all. Yeah, it doesn't help in the long run. So if you adopt a very short-term strategy, hi Katie, hi Abhishek. So if you adopt a short-term strategy, you will continue needing that short-term strategy. You will bounce from short-term strategy to short-term strategy. And if you go, some of you are watching on Facebook, but if you're on Facebook, you will see people literally appealing to those people. You will see groups, you will see ads, you will see all sorts of stuff that's like, I'll show you my secret that took me from 10K a month to 50K a month, right? I'm not sure how much of that stuff is true, by the way, but what they're doing is they're selling tactics. They're selling things that gives you a temporary uplift, and then you need something else. You need something else. You need something else. And it does not work. Whereas the long-term brand building, everyone's one day we'll do this, one day we'll do this. I've always led with this. Yeah, I've led with this and created what we nickname digital brand activation. Digital brand activation. I'm going to show you what this means for you, because it doesn't mean replicating the big brands. It doesn't mean that at all. That's how the big brands use it. That's how Coke uses it. You know, you see a bottle of Coke, they don't say on offer or any of that. They just put Coke out there. So people, when they think of a drink, they think Coke. It's similar, but different. And I'm going to show you some of this. So the problem with this model is if you go short-term results now thinking, it will harm your long-term results. You'll end up having to perpetuate this, buying new gadgets, trying new platforms, trying new this, trying new that, and nothing you can sustain, right? If you invest in long-term strategies and tie in short-term needs, that's where the real results in, and build a process and a system that can actually feed you now and feed you in the future. That's what we're trying to do. But if you pick one or the other, you'll go bust, or you'll be on a hamster wheel. Yeah. So you go bust or you're on a hamster wheel. And so these are the two different models, and this is done. And the IPA also endorsed this, that found that actually long-term growth is not from a lot of the things that we think are the go-to options to scale. Yeah. So the brilliant guy, Mark Ritson, did a whole piece on this for Marketing Week. And he basically ripped apart a lot of the social media advertising, a lot of that, because it's so tactical, so short term, and there's no residual benefit from it. So let me just walk you through what I've just said. So this is a typical B2B buying process. I'm going to show you examples of how this works, and then we'll go into some of the key things I'm going to cover. So every B2B customer goes through this process. Yeah, it's a very simple process, and I'm sure you could add more stages and all that kind of stuff, but I'm a firm believer that what we have to do is make it as simple as possible, because we've got to do it daily, regularly, get other people to see it, other people to understand it. So if your strategy is too complicated, it'll fall over as soon as you try and implement it. So I mapped out that the B2B business buying process basically follows these 4 stages. The first stage is that the customer or prospect becomes problem aware. They are now aware that something in their business isn't right. As a rule, by the way, every customer, every prospect has to have a problem to buy from you. Every single one. There has to be some form of problem. If there's no problem, they're buying for the wrong reasons. The relationship won't last, and it's a novelty purchase. It's not gonna, you can't build a business on a company not having a problem. And that problem can be anything from the results aren't high enough, or they could be more. It could be that something's not working anymore. It's a problem. In other words, you can have a positive problem in that the results aren't the great. We're not, struggling, but it's actually not performing as well as we want. We want to go places and we need to get there, and we're stuck because we can't seem to get there. So you can have positive problems and negative problems. Positive in the sense of you want to get somewhere and you feel stuck, and you can have the negative ones of you're going down the pan. And I'm using extreme examples here. So then from there, they move to an outcome aware. Now, we're not talking about solutions here. We're not talking about services. We're talking about the basics, that they want to get somewhere and they think it's possible. They see that it's possible. They look at their competition and maybe go, well, how come they're doing that and we can't? So they suddenly become aware that their problem, their current reality, there is a better reality. Yeah. Current reality, I'm not happy with it. It's annoying. I'm sick of it. I'm frustrated. I wish we could have a better reality. So current reality, problem, future reality or current reality is outcome. Now, we're still not talking about services or anything here. This is just where they are right now. The next stage is they start to go, do you know what? We've got to do something about this. We've got to do something about this. This is the point where they reach a commitment level of varying degrees of, I have to change this. I have to change this. We've got to do it. And it's a decision internally to change. It's not a decision to go to a supplier. It's not a decision on a way to change the reality. It's just a decision to change. Then they go looking for a way to change it. So they might go and Google things, how to grow my web traffic. They might Google this and Google that, and they start to form prescriptive ideas of how their problem can be fixed and how they can reach their outcome. Everybody still with me here? Hopefully you're still with me. Please let me know in the chat if you're still with me. So they go from, this is where I am and I'm not happy with it. This is where I want to be. And then I want to get there. Now, how am I going to get there? That's where we are, right? And in this process, the further along they go to the right, the closer they come to being prescriptive in the way they do it. So let me just give you some examples. Yeah. So at problem stage, they're agnostic to the solution. SEO, Google Ads, video, blog writing, copywriting, website development, any of those things are all up for grabs at the moment. Yeah. So totally up for grabs. But the more they move away from that problem and outcome and start to make decisions and find solutions, the more they move that way, the more they start to go, no, we need Facebook ads, or we need Google, or we need SEO, or we need a funnel, or we need this, or we need that. So they become more and more fixed on the way they want to solve their problem. Let's be honest, we're all mature enough here. If a client came to you, and let's ask, if a client came to you and said, we need more traffic on our website, I bet your service in some way, shape or form could help with that. I'm pretty convinced one of your services could help with that. If a client came to you and said, we need our customers to understand our proposition better. I'm sure you can all figure that out and find a solution for that. Whether you're copywriting, SEO, or whatever it is, you can do that. So in this process, they're agnostic to the solution, prescriptive. Where is better to reach a customer? Yeah, just ask yourself this. Where would you rather reach the customer? Because I'm going to screw with your heads or mess with your heads in a minute. Where would you rather find the customer? When they're agnostic to the solution, in other words, they're not fussed about which way, they just want to get to the result. Or when they're starting to say, this is what we want, this is how it does, which is the better option? Now, some of you are going to say actually agnostic to the solution, and some of you are going to say prescriptive to the solution, because at least you know what you're working with. However, let me show you another version of this. Yeah. The competition is actually lower when they're problem aware. And I'll explain why in a minute. So they're low to high. Yeah. So you see the difference? Problem to solution. Competition is low here because they don't know what they want. And down here, this is what we need. We need quotes. Well, let's go to tender. Let's invite some people into pitch. The further down here, the more competitive it becomes. Down here, it's less competitive because you don't know that they have a problem. You can't identify them easily. So this is where it goes, actually, it's really hard to get to the people and so what happens is you go for the people who need it. And actually your whole strategy, your messaging, your content, your marketing efforts, all appeals and talks to these people here. And you end up in beauty parades with other people, other agencies down here, where you're being evaluated against a criteria that doesn't necessarily give you any advantage. Down here, there is no criteria other than we want an outcome. There's no competitor other than the status quo. In other words, down here on the left-hand side, problem aware stage, on this side of this half of it, is the only competition is the customer deciding to stay and do what they've always done. So you're not competing against another SEO agency, another video marketing agent. You're competing against staying as they are. They will be evaluating you against this, and it's worth noting this down now. When they're down here, they are evaluating your proposal against the cost of inaction. If we do nothing, how much does it cost us? Yeah. If we do something, what do we gain? If we do your proposal, what do we gain? Versus if we do nothing, what do we gain or save? And that's the competition you're up against, the closer to the left-hand side you are. So what does this mean? Well, let me show you what this means. So hopefully you can see that on screen. So now I've overlaid some kind of messaging and thought processes to help you understand where people are. Problem aware stage. Our social media is boring. Nobody looks at it. It's crap. That's where they are. Outcome aware. We should be getting more engagement. It should be better than this. I've seen our competitors' page. They get more engagement than us. Why are we not getting engagement? Then we go, how can we get more engagement? How can we do it? And that's when they go, we've got to do something about it. How are we going to do it? And then they go looking for the solution and go, we're looking for a social media agency. This is what we want them to do. This is how we want them to do it. Blah, 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 blah. Let's get some quotes. Let's compare them. And let's decide who do we think is the best option. That's how it works. But look at the messaging variation. Look at the difference in the messaging. And I know this is a very simple example, but look at how different that messaging is. Yeah. So let me ask you this. This one down the end here, the best way to win for this is to be at the top of Google, paid ads. Yeah. To be at the top of Google for keywords. This is the most optimum way to get these customers because you're looking for them as they're searching. Yeah. These are the people who might go out to tender. These are the people you might prospect and say, we're going out to, we're going to get an RFQ out. These down here, it's competitive, it's commoditized. The value has been stripped out in that buying process. Yeah. The real value you offer to your customers is not what you make for the customer. It's what the customer gains from what you made. Does that make sense? So if you make a video, promo video, it's not the video in itself that is the value. It's what the value gains the customer. So this is where some of you might fall out with me. Yeah. If you're in love with your own art, you'll struggle to get this. If you're in love with your own content and video, you'll struggle because the customers are only buying you for where it gets them. Now, yes, if it's pretty and it's amazing, obviously all of that goes, but actually what they're buying is the result of what you've made, created, or done for the client. So when we spin this round and we go, how do we reach these people? The people down here finding the solution, they'll give you a brief. They'll give you an expectation. They'll give you brand guidelines. They'll give you all the stuff at the extreme end of this. They'll give you everything and say, make us the stuff. Then it's down to your creativity versus somebody else's. Now, I'm sorry, again, upset you all. You might all block me on LinkedIn now after this. You can't outfox every competitor all of the time. It's impossible. So you end up in a beauty pageant competing with somebody else, hoping you've got the best ideas. Now, we all know what happens. I've done it. I've been in it myself. You end up competing with people. They want to see your ideas. You give them your ideas, and then they go, this is interesting. And then half your ideas get implemented by another agency. We know how this works. So the worst scenario is pitching. Yeah, the worst scenario. Now, if you're a big agency, that's slightly different if you're dealing with multi-million spends, because that's a way to do it. But I've seen and worked with companies where they've moved tens and hundreds of thousands of spend without ever going through a competitive process, because they convince the customer they are the quickest path to the outcome. So they get hold of the customer here. They reach the prospects here, and then move them this way, but move them this way together. And so find the solution is them discovering that you are the best choice as opposed to standing still. It works brilliantly, big and small companies. And I'll give you an example, and I'll explain how we got more brand new TV advertisers onto TV advertising than any other company because of this same principle. So it's converts, not conversions. What do I mean? What do I mean? So if you think about this model here, just visualize this. Well, you can see it in front of you. Think about this, right? How does this affect your content? What do you want to be known for? Now, you can be known as the most creative agency in the world. Good luck with that. It's a tough job. Or you can be known by your bubble of prospects that you are the go-to people for getting this result with video, or with this, or with that. Or you can be the most known marketing agency within your prospecting bubble that can achieve X result. So if you're a video person, video agency, we help companies grow their engagement, deepen their prospects' understanding of who they are and what they can do through video. So then your message, and this is where we come to value proposition. Your message, if you're trying to reach people through video, is not about how amazing your video is and how many team you've got and how many awards you've won. Although they're important in terms of validation of your credibility, what you really want to do is, if you're down here, these people don't care how good you are at video. I know that sounds, they do to a degree, but they don't care. What they care about down here is, can you fix that problem? And can you get them to that outcome? Can you fix it? And can you get them there? They don't care about your product or service because they're agnostic to the solution. They just want to know that your work, your effort can get them from problem to outcome. And they make a decision. We want that outcome. Great. Do you want our solution? Yes or no? I've been through this, and not once in this process, with this process, we have followed tenders and got tenders as well. But when we've implemented this process, not once have we gone up against somebody else, ever. It's always been, do they believe that we are the decision? And if not, they don't. They wander off, do something else, and they come back, or they just wander off. But what I found is the conversion rate is massively higher because you're talking about results and outcomes, something that marketing agencies get terrified, absolutely terrified of talking about. You can't guarantee a result, but what you know from your own experience is that if a client does X, Y, and Z, you can get the result. Now, this brings me on to another point, and I don't have a slide for this, but I learned this the hard way. The client is employing you for your expertise in getting them from their current problem, their current reality, to their outcome. Now, when I was doing TV commercials, it was really funny because a client would sign up, and maybe some of you will have a giggle in the chat at this. So if you want to have put a laugh emoji in when I tell you this, that tells me that I'm not alone in experiencing this. And let's be honest. Come on, let's have a bit of fun with this. Client comes on, you're the experts. I trust you to get this done. We're in your hands. I'm sure you've heard this before, right? Then, as the project unfolds, and literally, I had this on a TV shoot. We're filming a TV shoot. Client's never done video ads before, never done TV commercials before, never done the clearance and all that kind of stuff that you have to do to get a TV commercial approved, and suddenly decides in the middle of the TV commercial, there's Steven Spielberg. Oh, no. You're the experts. But then, no, but I want it done like this, and I want this done, and I want that done, and I want this done. And of course, what happens is if you try and please your client in the short term, you actually F yourself over in the long term because you won't get the result. And they'll still blame you anyway. So it's better to be firm with the clients and say, this is our railway track. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to achieve. If you deviate, please do not hold us responsible for the failure of the campaign. And we'll do exactly what you say. Yeah. If you don't do that, you will end up doing lots of work for clients. Yeah. Them actively signing everything off as you go, approve, and you'll be pleasing the client. You'll be pleasing the client, and then you get to the end. Oh, that didn't do very well. We're not really happy about this. And then you say, we told you, and we did. Yes, but you didn't explain clearly enough that if we did this, this would be the result. So you will be, if you please the client, you will be damned if you do and damned if you don't. So it's very important you set the railway track that you're going to run on at the beginning. And every time they try and deviate, if you're not happy, if you think it will compromise what you're doing, I've spotted a few people I know here. If you're not comfortable with what they're doing, you just say to them, look, we'll do whatever you want. Yeah, you're the client at the end of the day. But if we do this is what we think. Make sure you put it on email as well, because conversations conveniently get forgotten. And sometimes clients pay attention more when you put it in writing, because suddenly it's like, I've just issued a big disclaimer. If we follow your instructions, we'll absolutely do it to the letter, but just making clear this is what's going to happen. When you do that, you keep the client on track. So just as a disclaimer, you've got to be in charge. If you're not in charge, the client will not get the result that you're going to do. So this is really simple. B2B buying process, problem aware, outcome aware. That's where you focus. And you talk into those messages. Yeah, you develop your messaging based off those stages not off this, which I see everywhere on LinkedIn. I see it everywhere on email. Do you need this? Do you need that? Do you need the other? We can help you with this. Do you need a website? Do you need that? What are they doing? They're appealing to people who are actively looking for the solution, commoditized end of the market, the bottom end of the market, the end of the market where your expertise is not being shown. Your ability to be compliant is shown. Your expertise should be in creativity, of course, but it should actually be rooted in, you know how to get people with these problems to this result. And this is what you put out. So let me talk to you about how we did the TV commercial thing. So we mapped out that we knew that certain industries and sectors would have a propensity to advertise on television. And we knew, as a relatively new TV commercial company, we'd only been doing it, despite me being in TV for a long time, as a business, we hadn't done TV, and we as an independent business. So we had the credentials in terms of experience, but we didn't have the company track record. So what we did is we found companies that had never been on TV before, never advertised, and we partnered with Sky AdSmart, big advertising company, which made advertising much more targeted. So you can produce a TV commercial and serve the TV commercial on particular demographics around the country. So I could target business owners or particular types of business owners for particular products, not serve it to everybody. So if you imagine a row of houses, number 24 could be seeing Carlsberg and number 22 could be seeing a Ford car advert. So it's completely different. So we partnered with them because it's a much more effective and cost-effective way to actually do television advertising. And we approached them and said, we can get you in front of this many thousands of people with your products on TV. And we did a fixed price TV commercial with fixed budgets, almost like in a box, TV commercial in a box. And those got, you know, they could add bolt-ons and add-ons and extras and all that kind of stuff. But there was a core package that they could have, which was affordable. And we actually did a month-long campaign at the time for about 10 grand. So for 10 grand, you could be on TV for a month with a targeted area. Roughly, it was about 200,000 views of your commercial. And you could see how many people had viewed it and how long. Now, coming back to it, you go, why would you want to do TV? TV's so old school. No, because that graphic I showed you earlier, this one shows that the power of TV packs more of a punch than actually in the long term than social media ads. And so every company that does TV ads, despite them being perceptively expensive, actually it turns out to be very effective because the name recognition. Remember, you want to be the go-to person, you have to build your name and be known for something. The best thing to be known for is fixing a problem or helping people achieve an outcome. Yeah, that's what you want to do. So when I built my marketing agency, which I didn't love by the end because I hated the work and the back and forth and all that kind of stuff, I was prolifically talking about the results and outcomes and pains all the time, prolifically. I did some crazy things. So I hired an outdoor projector for 4 hours, and I found the highest building in the city, and I projected the company logo onto the building. Yeah, it was a 13-story building, put it on the top of the building. Then I went around the city with it in a van and projected it onto various landmarks and took the pictures, sent them to the papers. Yeah, because I knew, one, local newspapers still have a lot of pack a punch, particularly with web, by the way. And I knew that if I could get the name known and the name known for particular results, that would pay off. And so that's how we scaled very fast, really fast, with no paid ads in the sense of Facebook and Google. We did it all organically, selling commercials and selling retainer services. Really crazy stuff. But actually, we all wanted to do was get the name known. and the name aligned with a result and a pain, a problem, a challenge, and a result. And in them days, we focused on sales through marketing. And now in my current days, I focus on it in a different way. I'm more on the sales bent of how do you sell. So the key thing is, if you've got to invest in developing your name recognition with a problem or an outcome. So think about everything that you're doing. Look at your website, look at everything you're doing and going, does this help people remember us as the people who fix this problem and get people to this outcome? And I'd encourage you to map out, what are your outcomes that you can deliver? What are the things you're confident to say and defend in public, and then get bold about it? Get really bold about what you know you can deliver. Yeah. What a lot of people do is they go into the creative. Worse still, some marketing agencies are actually producing their social media content, and they're producing their all of their stuff, and they're not doing it for the customers. They're doing it and almost talking to their own competitors. They're reacting to what their competitors are doing. They're creating or upgrading their website because the competitors have done something. They don't really know whether it works. They're just following what, or trying to catch up or keep ahead of the competition. If you're generating your own inquiries, if you're generating your own business, you don't need to worry about that. You can't be beaten if prospects know you are synonymous with fixing this problem, or fixing this, getting people to this result. Now, you can't bullshit people, because, you know, marketing's well known for that. We're pretty good at that. You've got to make sure, really clear, this is what we do. This is the results we deliver. This is how we do it. And you just rinse and repeat that. Yes, it's nice to show your creativity. Yes, it's nice to show your flair. But actually what people do is they want to buy into a result. Now, this leads me on to some of the corporate marketing departments. I've dealt with a few of them, and they are tough, and they are more prescriptive in the way they work. However, if they come up with an idea, marketing departments, if there's an idea that they love and you excite them, they will move heaven and earth to get you on board. They will find a way. They always find a way. They'll cut something, they'll change something, they'll scale something back to find a way to work with you. But here's the biggest thing you've got to understand. The bigger the organization gets, the more risk averse they are. Because what you do for them as the marketing managers or the marketing team reflects on them. So when you're dealing with a small business and the business owner's calling the shots, they make a decision, they live or die by their decisions. And they can live with it because they're not going to get fired, or they're not going to get their budget squeezed, or they're not going to be criticized, or the next time their budget's up for grabs, they're not going to remember how much was wasted on this. Yeah. In a bigger organization, the marketing department, the bigger it gets, the more risk averse the actual marketing department becomes. Unless you're like a very rogue brand and there's some like Aldi and Brewdog who will really push the boat out with a very aggressive, provocative marketing strategy. The vast majority of businesses in that large camp are very risk averse in terms of marketing. So you have to give them certainty that you can do what you say you can do in terms of your results and what you deliver. And I'll talk about how you do that in a minute. And then you also have to minimize their risk, not the risk of them hiring you and it not happening, but the risk of it backfiring. And that's about demonstrating to them that you know what you're doing, that you can deliver it, and you've done it for other people. That's where your case studies come in. That's where all of that, that's where all of your validation, your awards and all that kind of stuff comes in. It's the backup that you're not a risk. Linus just said, oh my gosh, that's actually surprisingly true based on previous experience. They're risk averse. So that's where the awards, that's where the case studies and all of that come in. But that's not the thing that gets them hooked on you. What gets them hooked is actually you know how to fix this problem and get them to that outcome. But then they go, that's brilliant, that sounds great, but you're a small agency, you're this, or how do I know this? And nobody wants to put their neck on the line of recommending a new agency. They want a collective decision. Nobody wants to be the champion unless you wow them. So you wow them over here, showing them how creative you are, but ultimately how this will make a difference. If, and I'm going to shut up in a minute because we got some questions. If you're going after companies that have already got an agency in, so you've got an agency already in place, you have to ponder and think, what are they unhappy with right now that we can fix? What are they unhappy with right now that they can fix? Now, you can't throw stones. Yeah, you can't criticize, but you can go, And now we tailor our value proposition to that particular client. You tweak your messaging, you tweak your everything that you're doing to them because you know that they're working with a particular agency, or you know they're doing that, and they want something else. The great thing about marketing, by the way, is of course you can observe everything they're doing because it's so public most of the time. So have a look at it. Where's the holes? Where's the things that aren't working? What's the engagement like? Has it performed? Now start to tailor what you offer against what you see as the vulnerabilities in what they're currently doing with another agency. And you adapt your messaging to fit how you can fix that problem. Of course, you have to be able to fix it. Yeah, but this is really key, really, really key. If you want to dislodge a competitor, you have to find the vulnerabilities in their current service and show them a better way. Does that make sense for everybody? Does anybody have any questions at this point while I have a little glass of water? Any questions? So let me just bust something whilst, if there's more questions coming, we'll go to questions in a second. Here's your homework for tonight. I want you to go away from here and literally write down all of the results you think you can help clients with, scenarios that might be going on in their business that you can help them fix with. Do not get obsessed with how you do it. Just focus on the results your clients want and try and make them as tangible as possible. Like optimizing the performance of your website is a bit vague. We can optimize your website so that. So Richard Sharp, there's some really good ways to do this. I'll come to that in a minute. So first one, write down all of the things you think you can help with. Right? Now work out from what they want, yeah, the results that you can deliver, what's the current reality they've got, and then assess, almost do a little audit on what they're doing. Yeah, so that you could actually go and present a report and say, I think you could get more engagement here, you could get more engagement here, you can get more engagement here, and do the detail. I've done this all the time. So I show people where their content's not performing and say, I can show you how to do it. I show them what I think they need to do. I show them and they go, can you do it? And that's what we do. So Ella, Thomas, Richard Sharp, let's deal with some questions. Right. So Richard's asked, how do you find who the incumbent agency was? This is so fun and easy, right? So the first thing is, let's say they're a social client. We'll come to video in a minute. So if they're a social client, number one, social client, go look at their social media, see who's engaging with it, because I bet you any money the agency is actually liking the posts on the page, whether it's the company page or the Facebook page, or they're retweeting it. Yeah, it's always the case. So that's the first one. If it's a marketing manager, Go look and see who's engaging with the marketing managers posts on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of the Instagram stuff, because agencies stalk and try and tightly build relationships with their marketing managers. So look who's doing it. Number one. Number two. Next one, reverse image search any of their social content to see if it you can reverse. So go to a client's social media and reverse image search some of their social media content, right? You'll find that'll probably be showcases on another agency's page. There'll be examples in different places, and you'll find the social content. When it comes to videos, yeah, again, Google search it again for the video to find out who's got the logo on their website. So you can look and find the title of the video. You can find the logo of the company. So find the logo of the company, reverse image search it, and try and find the agency. Go back to the agency who's got the logo on the website. Yeah. So there's a lot of ways you can do this, Richard. I'm sure you'll pick my brains at another point, but reverse image search the social content. You'll probably find branding styles there, common styles and stuff. So that's number one. Number two, have a look at the website footer, see who built it and what the date is. See if they're an integrated marketing agency as well as a web developer. That's number two. What's the other one? Video. So video, depending on how they've done it, there'll be an IMDb credit, or there will be some form of credit somewhere on the video, even in the YouTube channel. So you could reverse search the image. You could reverse search the video, by on YouTube to see if it's on their show reel or anything like that. Look for the video across YouTube. So basically your detective work. Some agencies will boast about it. So again, you can put ASDA marketing agency, creative agency in the search firms and Google, and see if it pulls up any brag pieces, which there will be, by the way, brag pieces about the agency. That's the one thing about the marketing world. We love to brag about our clients. So you can just Google search backwards ASDA, and ASDA in speech marks. And in fact, shall I show you? And then I'll deal with Elia's question. So if I go to Google and go here, ASDA in speech marks and creative. Now you'll have to play around with this a little bit. Yeah. And then you start to see no more about advertising, and you'll start to look and you'll start to see, oh, here we go. Agencies are vying for ASDA's account, and you can see who they are, and it tells you all the news. But on smaller accounts, you'll actually find it a different way. So you just start to look and you'll start to see it. And you just look through and find it. So that's the key thing. The drum, obviously, for some of the big accounts, you can actually find out who they are, but you just literally reverse search for some of the big brands. That's the simplest way to do it. Elia, is there a method you recommend for finding people at the problem aware stage? So Elia, this is really, really easy. I love to use LinkedIn for this stuff. And actually Richard Sharp knows about this because we've talked about this before. So what I tend to do, oh, there's us on my LinkedIn here. So what I tend to do is this, and it works brilliantly. Remember, people are buying problem and outcome, problem and outcome. So all you talk about is problem and outcome and how you can fix that. Oh, this is really weird because now we're actually showing in on here. So I use LinkedIn posts to attract the people with the problem. Attract the people with a problem. So if you've got a challenge with sales and selling your services, and you want to do it in a non-salesy way, so you don't want to cold call and things like, you want to do it more relationally, that's exactly what I teach. So I use social media content, not on pages, but on my profiles, to talk to people with a problem. So Growth Bay. Growth Bay, good point. I would write down, brain dump all of the benefits that you can bring, all of them, yeah, but make them tangible. Then I was a bit like the reverse image search, find out from that all the current realities they have as a prospect that's probably doing them a disservice, and then pull them and then start to post about that. Yeah, so the pains, we call them pain point posts, and you can have a look on my LinkedIn and you'll see some of them. There's no sales pitch whatsoever. It's just talking about the pains, and it attracts people with the pains like a magnet. They work really, really well. Growth Bay, we're doing a lot of top of funnel stuff, podcasts, LinkedIn posts especially, but we also build an email list. People love content, but we get clients from all over. So I think all of these things are brilliant, but I think what you've got to understand is the world is more like Netflix now. So there is no loyalty to a program unless you keep people engaged. How do you keep people engaged? By wanting more. That's why series have cliffhangers. That's why Line of Duty kept us all guessing on Sunday night as what was going to go on, and why they teased the finale on next Sunday. It's because we have to keep feeding people information. So if the downside to podcasts and things like that is people dip in for their topic and they dip out. And to keep people engaged, you need to be continually talking about the pains and outcomes. And that may feel a bit repetitive, but remember, the power of brand is actually cementing a message into somebody else. So whilst you're getting fed up of saying the similar things a lot, your prospects are starting to learn, that's what they do. And so in times gone by, they would call it indoctrination. And that's effectively what you're doing. You're proving to people that you can fix this problem. And then we have a content formula called TASTE, TASTE. Teach. Can you show people why they have that problem? Can you give them actionable advice? Can you show them how you solve pain, how you get people to an outcome? Can you show examples of how people have got to that outcome, transformational stories? Yeah. Then finally, can you showcase your personality in the way you work? Because people buy from people. So TASTE, teach, actionable advice, solving pain, transformation stories before and after, and experiencing you and your personality. And that's a content formula you can use anywhere. But actually, if you focus on the pain and the outcomes, you get a lot of attention from people who want them and who have them. So that's what I would do. I would brain dump on a piece of paper all the tangible benefits that your service can bring. And then I would look at what are all the current realities they've got that means they need your service. Because people will only respond to the pains and outcomes. Look at your own, maybe you won't want to admit to this, but when you're busy, you don't worry about your pipeline. When the cash flow's good, you don't worry about your debtor days. Yeah, a lot of businesses don't anyway. Marketing agencies particularly, they get really busy, overloaded with work, feel like they're creaking. Yeah, feels like the wheels are going to fall off. You're that busy. And then because you've stopped marketing yourself, promoting and doing the work to build your business, guess what? All that work gets complete and it falls off a cliff again and you go into panic mode. Panic mode is, let me just remind you, panic mode is doing this stuff here. We got no work. Do you need SEO? Do you need this? Do you need this? And you do 1,500 quid websites because you got no money. And so you do low value work just to pay the bills. You get so busy, so you stop doing it. And then you fall down again. This is exactly what marketing agencies are notorious for. On Facebook, I said, do you agree a free webinar is one of the best ways to show a potential client how you can solve their problems and get them to journey through their planned funnel? So absolutely yes. So the way we use webinars is not to sell. Some people will go, these guys know what they're talking about. These guys can help me grow my agency. I need to talk to them. And that's fine. But you won't have a very aggressive, you won't get cold calls from us or anything like that. That's not how we work. The purpose of this webinar is if we give you value, you're going to go, these guys know what they're talking about. And when you hit the uncomfortable squeaky bum time and need to fix this, you'll come back to us. So I agree with you. Free webinars, don't forget about using them like everybody else does on Facebook, where you go, I'm going to show you half a story. I'm not going to give you any value. I'm not going to give you any insights. And then I'm going to manipulate you all through with the webinar to actually sell you this thing at the end. And I'm going to push hard. Give me a break. Really? No grown-up business person buys from that shit. Oops. No grown-up business person. Desperate people buy from that. Desperate people buy from that. So I use webinars as a way to educate, as a way to give value, sometimes more actionable, sometimes more strategic. They go away, they'll digest it and have a go. And the people who want to come back and are serious then about it will actually come to us. And that's where the confidence, the trust levels, the reputation is already established. Some of you here will come back to me, maybe not now, maybe in a month's time or 2 months' time or a year's time. And that's cool. But look at what I'm doing. Look at what I'm doing. I'm working for the long term, which is 6 months plus, basically, because I know that's where I win. That's where some of you tonight will never do business with us, and that's fine. But if you hear about us, you'll probably say to someone, I went on a really good session with them. They really give a lot of good advice. That's a win for me, because marketing, as you know, is a long game. You have to play a smart, long game. And that's what you should be doing, playing the smart, long game. Get known for the problems and outcomes you deliver. Stay away from this end of the market. Yeah, you might have to do it. We do it sometimes because there's some contracts you really want just for the name rec, and that's all right. But most of my revenue, most of my profit is down here. Most of my profit's down here. Down here is the name rec. It's the big value name recs. Bronson asked a question, and I'll have to wrap up on this. Right, human beings, right? Human beings often try to treat the symptom, not the real problem. So let me give you an example. Their website's crap. They need a new website. Yeah, they'll try and use Facebook ads to get more traffic to the website. Meanwhile, the website's crap. They'll try to get more traffic from the website by SEO. But in reality, the fundamental thing is the website doesn't work. Yeah. So think about it like this, and I'll use the topical example, common cold. When you've got the common cold, you're not worried about those little virus cells, going through your body, the little common cold virus, whatever it's called, rhinovirus cells. You're not worried about them. You're more worried about the runny nose, yeah, the achy bones and the achy body, and you can't concentrate. Symptoms. Businesses focus on symptoms. How do we get our engagement up on social media? Yeah, that's what they think. They don't think our social media content's crap. They go, how do we fix our engagement? How do we make rubbish work? How do we put a plaster on to make it all better again? And so you need to think about what are the symptoms you fix, not just the main problem. So Bronson says, how do we show people they have a problem? So the first thing is you talk about the symptoms. And if these things exist, often they will engage you to fix the symptoms. And the real problem is the website. So it's the outcome they want. What's the outcome? So if you can get people more quality traffic on their site, yeah, and it converts, inquiries, whatever, awesome. What's going on? They're getting traffic and no conversions. They're getting no traffic. They're not getting enough traffic. People are not staying on the website for long enough. People aren't navigating to the right pages. The bounce rate's high. These are all the things that are going on, right? So you might go, we can help you fix your bounce rate. If you've got a high bounce rate on your website, this is probably why, and we can help you fix it. We can help you bring your website bounce rate down by 20%. People go, we need that, but you're actually selling the real fix, which is an optimized website. for what its purpose. But people will latch onto the symptoms. Oh, I need a drink now. Guys, I hope this, and gals, I hope this has been helpful to you tonight. More than happy to answer any other questions if you want to find me on LinkedIn. I would appreciate if you find us on Google Reviews, Trustpilot, our company page. If you do, you know, the thumbs up, the likes, the follows, all that stuff, it really does help. It helps us build our brand, which is exactly what I've told you to do, to go focus on. If you've got questions, just message me. I'm not going to try and spin you into a sales pitch. I want to help you, because ultimately the best thing you can have, as I started with, is fans of people who are fans of what you do and appreciate what you do and know what you do for them. So that's my goal with you tonight. So if there's more help you need, just drop me a message. More than happy to help out. Other than that, I need a drink and relax now. I've been talking for an hour. Thank you so much for coming. Please check out, we've got others on LinkedIn lead generation, content writing, all of this stuff around selling. So feel free to come find it. And I'll see you next week for our next session. Our next